Alrighty, we're set. There we go. All right, guys, welcome to tonight's charting session. It is Monday, July 10th. We're going to go through kind of the action that we had today. I want to replay the action and possibly see if there was any opportunity that I might have missed later in the day. We'll go over the trades, go over what we did right, what we did wrong, and then we'll start off with, or we'll end off with talking about what we're going to look at going into tomorrow and possibly the rest of the week. So, starting off, again, going into today, I did have a bearish bias, but going into the morning, I did have a little bit more of a bullish bias. Now, last night I said if we were to see a sell-off in the overnight session and to sweep this low, that I'm probably going to be more bullish going into the next day. And that's exactly what happened. We ended up selling right off, swept that low in the overnight session, and then market ended up opening around here. So looking at the open, right? Looking at this 15-minute, right, what are we waiting for? Well, we see we have, sell side being swept. We get big displacement back up, so I'm probably expecting to see us go to these imbalances right here, right? So what I want to mark in as well, I go from the high to the low. What can I expect? Probably us to retrace to discount. So this is what I think the draw on liquidity is, right? Is, whatever this 50% is, and also this 1 hour, fair value gap. So this high here as well, right? So going into the morning, I did want to look to take a long. I think I missed my entry. We'll see. 15-minute. Again, I have clear drawn liquidity being this high here first, and then 50%. Again, if I zoom out here as well, this is also the start of that 1 hour fair value gap. If we just swept this and we end up breaking through, right? Notice this 1 hour fair value gap. We end up, breaking through this. What would I expect? Probably become inverse. You can see we have a 1 hour fair value gap here that gets touched back into and then continued to bought up, and then we had another 1 hour here. So going into the morning, I was watching this 15-minute fair value gap aligned with that 1 hour, and I wanted to see the reaction right here when we ended up opening up. You could see we came down. Yes, big move at the open, ended up retracing. This was the long opportunity. Now, even though we swept buy side already, this still would have been a good long because there's no displacement, right? Notice when we're starting to come back. Notice also macros running at this time, right? Expansion macro starts running. Slow chop, pulls back to discount, right? Notice not strong selling pressure, right? Move down, sweep that low, big move back up. Come down, sweep that low, move back up, right? Starting to form little formation. And then right when we continue to hold this would not have been a bad long targeting new highs. We end up coming down. Once we sweep buy side, again, what are we looking for? Market structure shift. This ends up getting shifted right here. Possible short targeting these lows would be here. Market structure shift. What do I wait for? Pull back to fair value gap. We have this fair value gap right here that ends up just getting touched into very quickly right here. You can see that ends up getting touched. End up coming down. Now, once we sweep this initial low, it's a little bit less probability, but we do end up forming relative equal lows. We did come down sweep this, but I would be a little bit more careful, and the reason is because I would want to see a little bit more break through that. So once we get this displacement back down, I then look at a bigger time frame, right? Go to that 5-minute and say, okay, we have these imbalances up here. I'm now watching to see possible retrace up into this level, and then maybe see selling pressure back off to take these relative equal lows out, right? So going back to the 1 minute now, you can see buy side taken here on the 1 minute. We get displacement back down. This could have been another possible short entry right here on this fair value gap, right? Market structure shift here. You have draw and liquidity being lower. You have big displacement, pull back one more time to this fair value gap, and then we ended up selling off to take out all these equal lows, right? Now, once we take these equal lows out, what are we waiting for? I'm waiting to see, do we get displacement lower or do we get displacement back up, right? Because on a bigger time frame, this now becomes market structure shift, right? If we're looking at a 5-minute or whatever it is, right? We have the sweep, coming back down. But I have to keep in mind, just by looking at this chart, this is bearish. But looking at this chart, I'm bullish because now that's a sweep on that low, and the draw on liquidity is higher on a bigger time frame because we just swept this low, big displacement back up. This is us pulling back to that fair value gap, right? Going to that 1 hour, right? Where do you think we just retraced back to? Going to the high, to the low. We end up retracing to discount just to then go back higher. So this was actually a really, really nice long setup right here. When we ended up coming down sweeping, again, I was at the gym at the time, so. And then we have this 5-minute here that ends up getting touched. Right here. Gets tapped in. This would have been a nice long. Again, what's getting respected, what's getting disrespected? Notice, 5-minute, we end up sweeping this, displacement back up. What does this now become, right? When we break through this, right? Once we break through, Boom. Retest back into this. Continue higher. So this would have been not a bad long here. Targeting first this high. And then it looks like we ended up just chopping the rest of the day. 15 minutes, I think that was holding. Okay, there's possibly another long here. But again, this late in the day, especially with this kind of action, I wouldn't take this. But we did have an end of day macro run. 15 minute, continuing to hold. If I was going to take any sort of trade, again, a lot of just chop here. If I was going to take any sort of trade here, I would need to see a low get swept. But I don't think that, actually, the 3 minute kind of did have this. So we did have this low here get swept. We did have displacement back up, and then we had a 3 minute for value gap actually get. Did this get tapped? This did get tapped. So this would have been your long here, right? Reason is what does this now become, right? Low resistance liquidity run. We have a lot of equal lows, or we have a lot of equal highs stacked right here. We have clear buy side. We're holding 15-minute time, we're holding 15-minute fair value gap, right? I'm now looking for displacement back up, right? Notice, no displacement back up here, right? We have a high here, gets broken through, but no displacement, right? Have a high here, doesn't get broken through. We come up, again, no really significant high here that we could say that this would be market structure shift. Comes back down. All right, we put a new high in, never break, put a new high in. This is the first high that gets broken that we actually have a move up, and we get a fair value gap created from it, right? And it's after we swip this low as well. So pull back to that 1 minute, and then ends up getting a push up to target that external buy side. Again, notice up here as well, we had those 3 equal highs that we knew that we wanted to get hunted as well and targeted. So some opportunity on ES. Again, slower action. Ended up just getting slower action later in the PM. Let's take a look at NQ. Again, same thing on NQ. Going into the day, a little bit more bullish because we've swept this level here now. Now, going into today, though, NQ ended up selling off and forming SMT at this low here. ES comes down. Super bullish on ES. Nowhere near taking out that low. NQ takes this low out really quickly. After NQ takes this low, we are fully bullish. Fully bullish. Especially when we see ES coming into discount, coming into that fair value gap, holding that fair value gap. SMT, NQ just swept that low, displacing back higher, right? Again, noticing what's getting respected, what's getting disrespected. If we just swept sell side, look at this 1 hour or 15-minute fair value gap. We end up breaking right through this. Now, what do we expect when we come back into this? Look, inverse fair value gap ends up coming back, and then ended up going straight to that buy side level. So zooming in, again, hard to take trades when we get, this kind of action. But right when you see that sell side, I would, it'd be good risk to take whatever first fair value gap gets touched into, because you have SMT. Looking at ES, we're having displacement. We're nowhere near taking that low. If you want to have a good risk setup, I would take, again, this would be turtle soup entry, right? And then whatever that first fair value gap is. So no for nothing, that's nothing. This would be possible long entry. Again, giving yourself some room though, right? Because you could possibly come back down here. So giving your room, first target probably be these highs. And then again, another setup similar to ES, which we have that 15-minute fair value gap here, as well as that inverse, right? Once we come back down to this, what am I looking for? Internal being swept. All right, boom. We get this low being swept right here. Again, notice no market structure shift. We don't break through this with displacement. We end up getting bought back up. And then we just kind of go straight. No really fair value gap, ended up getting touched straight here. But we ended up pushing up, coming back once again here. Guessing that was a bigger, like 5-minute fair value gap. Yep. Again, draw on this at this time is still that high. Pull back to discount. Wait for this to get bought up. We sweep all these lows. Gets bought back up. No really. We kind of have, again, a little bit choppy entry. But if you're confident on the draw, that you could enter at any point there. Yeah, this would have been a nice long as well. And then the rest of the day was market close right after. Nice. Yep. You see this 1 minute wick on NQ. That's when I got stopped and ran up. I had a tight SL. Oh, wait, this one right here. Yeah. Again, bigger time frame. Look at the 5 minute, right? You're still in this 5 minute fair value gap, so this was never invalidated, right? So again, if you have to position yourself where the trade is not invalidated, you have to lower your size. Because let's say you enter, oh, sorry, let me go back. Let's say you enter here, right? You wait for that sweep. We've pulled back to discount. Okay, what am I waiting for? Waiting for, you know, us to get bought back up. Okay, let's say I entered early here, right? Let's say, again, going from the high to the low. Discounts right here. So discounts right here. Okay, what do I wait? Now we put a low. Now we sweep. Okay, now that when we get bought back up, what am I waiting for? Some sort of kind of high getting structure. Really nothing. You know, we never really got broken through, right? No high is broken with market structure shift yet. So if I was going to take a long, even if I was going to take a long here, you could put your stop here, but that stop is not invalidating the trade, right? Now it's good to have good risk to reward, but even if you're getting stopped here, the bias is still playing out, right? So what I would do, or what you could do here is, again, you have a lot of room. For me, again, looking at a 5 minute, if I was to take this off a 5 minute, I'll put my stop at the bottom of the wick, right? So that is the stop that I would have. So what I would do is maybe enter a little bit of my size here, giving me room to then wait for confirmation. So I enter early. I know I'm entering early because we don't have any sort of structure shift, right? We continue lower. Once I get displacement back up and we actually get some sort of high or low being displaced through, that's when I can add my full position, and then I move my stop to whatever that low is or whatever that is, right? So I'm building an average, building a position the more I get confirmation. And so if I enter early right here, I'm allowed to put my stop way down here because I'm only in a quarter of my size, and that gives me enough room to, be able to have a looser stop loss like that. So looking at the 1 hour, clear this charts up a little bit, and we'll talk about going into tomorrow. So now, we'll start off looking at ES. Again, we do have SMT at the lows. Going to clear the charts up a little bit here. Looking at the 4 hour, actually starting off on the daily. Coming in, looks like we're still holding this daily fair value gap. So we have this daily as well as kind of this volume imbalance, and we're actually holding this really nicely. Again, wicked up, wicked up, wicked up. The last 3 days I've been holding this level pretty nicely, as well as this 4 hour. Now, I still would want to see this become, liquidity right here. I'd want to see us still go lower. We have tapped into this 4 hour fair value gap, though. So we definitely could bounce in the coming days and see this high become buy side. But I would still like to see lower in the coming weeks. But we have to recognize, again, we're now pulled back to discount of this range. So we definitely could see higher. Now, again, bigger time frame, we have swept that level. So I would need to see for me to be completely bearish on a bigger time frame, I would need to see us come down and break through this low, right? But if we continue to hold these bullish PD arrays, I would still expect us to probably go higher. So going into tomorrow, again, what do I look for? I look at the 1 hour. Now, it's kind of hard to tell because this fair value gap is so big, right? We have a big 1 hour fair value gap here. Now, if we continue to go through this, I would expect the draw to be that high. But if we continue to reject, then I would probably expect us to see lower. But we have put an SMT at the lows. Again, right now, I would want to see a little bit more structure start to form inside of this area because we have swept this level. We're now starting to pull back to all these imbalances here. I could definitely expect us to just run through this and go to this high. We have reached discount of this entire range. So now it's more of just waiting for some new structure and seeing what happens in the overnight session. Your latest YouTube video is awesome. Much love, brother. Yeah, I recommend everybody to go watch that video after this. Any questions, guys? Anything you want me to look over? Any questions you have on the bias or anything? Oh yeah, so let's talk about, where was it? Wait, I actually forgot. Let me pull up my journal real quick. Where was... Hold on. Whoa, okay. So this was the first trade. Let me pull up chat again. Yes. Wait, what time was this at? Wait, why is this? Wait, what time was this? No, it had to have been on NQ. Wait, I think it was on NQ. It was right there. Okay. All right. So again, going in, right? Looking at NQ. So this is the first trade we took. Looking at the 1 hour on ES. We came up, reject this 1 hour fair value gap. Once I see us reject this and we get a big displacement back down, I'm expecting to just go straight to the sell side again. I think the draw on liquidity becomes this low now. So what I look for is looking at the open, coming up, rejecting. We sweep this internal buy side level. We get big displacement back down. Now, this was... Wait, 1 minute. 9:30. Wow, I'm surprised I didn't take this, to be honest. This would have been the short here. I don't know why I didn't see that. Again, looking back, this would have been a clear short. And internal, rejecting that 1 hour fair value gap, we get displacement down, pull back in that fair value gap, targeting that sell side. That would have been the initial short. I entered way too late here. So this was the first trade we ended up taking here, was really late. The reason I take this is, again, I should have scaled at least something here, but I ended up letting the rest go. But I entered in short here, targeting that sell side level. Again, the only times that I take this is when I can see strong selling pressure, right? When it's just kind of a straight down move is when you can take, very tight scalps like this on fair value gaps. But I entered short, targeted here, was up around 1,000 here, or like 2,000, and then I ended up stopping out when we came back up here to this fair value gap, just because I wanted to see this run. But yeah, I would say this is a lower probability setup, just because again you're kind of chasing this. The original short should have been here. And then the other one was, so we had an SMT here. Again, the problem with this one now is we never took sell side, right? Again, sell side's not taken. At this point in time, 15-minute. Actually, sorry, 5-minute. We're coming down. We have this 5-minute fair value gap. We're continuing to hold this on a little bit of a bigger time frame. Again, and this was an early entry. A very, very early entry looking back. SMT, expecting to see, looking at this previous action, right? Straight down, straight up. What am I expecting? I want to see it come down. We sweep this low. Once we get displacement back up, I look to take a long. I enter long in this fair value gap, targeting those highs. Put my stop at the low. I end up getting stopped out there. Again, lower probability because that sell side was never swept, right? But again, this would have been the best trade today. I don't know. I looking back, I'm surprised how I missed this. But it's good to always look back and learn from that. That would have been the best trade probably. Exactly, 100%. Going back to that short that you said you didn't see, now that I think about it, I think that I thought it was a possible sweeping internal sell side. I think I remember that. I wasn't confident. I think the problem, I honestly don't. That's why might go back in today's recording and actually see what I was thinking about or my bias at the time. Because again, we just retraced a discount too for this range. So we retraced a discount on NQ. Actually, no, we didn't. Now we just, okay, so that might have been it, is we didn't go to discount, but we did reject that fair value gap. Again, I still would have probably taken that, to be honest. That's good risk. And continue to reject big displacement through that level. And we formed equal lows. This should have been a no-brainer trade. And we formed equal lows. We didn't even take that low out yet. Would you say you trade any differently in higher time frame biases are not matching up? Like here, daily is bullish, 4 hour could do either one depending on the reaction off the 1 hour, 50 minutes bearish. Would you say that you trade any differently? It's just got to be more patient. Again, you want to take high probability trades by meaning all of those biases are going to line up. Meaning if I want to take a short, if I can be able to get 5-minute short bias, 15-minute time frame short bias, 1 hour short bias, and 4 hour short bias, then it's going to be a very high probability trade. Shouldn't we wait until discount? No, you don't need to wait until discount here. Because you get displacement, right? This displacement, once you get this move to the downside, you can take whatever the first that first fair value gap is, right? Did you watch the ICT video on trading one setup for life? He is using session high and low on the bigger time frame buys. I don't think so. I'll check it out though. Where would your daily sell side be? I think I'm having trouble with being too zoomed out. Daily sell side? I mean, daily sell side would be this low. But if we're zoomed in a little bit, I would say this right here would be our sell side that we're paying attention to, is these relative equal lows right here. Sometimes I mess up with it because I'm always looking for a price to come back to discount and line up. Okay, so the times where you need the discount and the times where you don't need discount is all just going to be based off of having more experience, right? For this specific trade, the reason why I say you don't really need to wait for discount is because when you see momentum, a lot of the times, especially with NQ, is it'll run, especially in the mornings. Like it'll just go to whatever the opposing liquidity pool is. So when we see here, market opens 9:30, right? Okay, what happens? We get bought up. Okay, what does this become? That's manipulation, right? Manipulation move. We take this high. What do we expect here? Okay, now what am I looking for? We're in this 1 hour fair value gap. Okay, are we going to continue to up, or are we going to, show signs of a rejection here? Okay, instant signs of rejection, right? Big sell-off, market structure shift with big displacement, right? But we don't end up going to discount, right? High, low, we don't end up going to discount. Why is that? Okay, we'll zoom out, go to 2 minute. This is what I always like to do. If we have two fair value gaps here, we have this one and we have this one. And I always say, okay, take whichever one's in discount, which this one would be in discount, right? But the reason you don't take this one is I always say, if you have a clear draw right now, buy side swept, displacement DAC down, we have equal lows right here, and we know the draw is probably going to be lower around these lows, right? And then you'd scale out along the way. If you go back to a 2 minute, right, that is going to tighten whatever that range is. So I zoom out to a 2 minute, and that one fair value gap, or that two fair value gaps now becomes one fair value gap, and this would now be your entry, right? Because you're closing that window. So you go to a 2 minute, and this taps you in perfectly. Right when that comes in, gets tapped, sells off. And again, another entry here. Continuing lower. Now 10 a.m. doesn't open. Again, that's why Silver Bullet was not really good, because liquidity pool was already moved. Again, this would be lower probability though, because you just swept that low. Yeah, the candle that breaks structure was most of the time will hold. Like this big candle here will be that fair value gap you want to enter off of. How do you know when it's market structure shift versus liquidity sweep? That's when I'm having a hard time. The displacement. So higher time frame, we want to see liquidity sweep, right? This is if I could simplify this in the easiest way, this is what it would be. I have a level. Okay, I have two levels. Right? We have a high put in, right? Look at how this works. High here, all right? We come back down. All right. We're approaching this high. How do I know if this is a sweep or break of structure? All right. Oh. What does this look like? Do you think that's a sweep or a break of structure? A sweep, right? Notice the displacement. When we go through this level, are we displacing through it, or are we just coming up, sweeping that high, purging that liquidity pool, and then coming back into the range, right? Understanding a sweep versus break of structure is all under just watching price action after that level's taken. It's what happens after. So, okay, what would be a break of structure? All right, we have another level, right? We have a high. All right, we're coming back to that high. Oh. Okay, what would this be? Break of structure. Notice the displacement, right? We end up coming through this. This is a trend change, right? So now what we're coming back to is this is when, we would look for a bigger time frame PD array or whatever it is, possibly breaker block, whatever. Discount, and then look to go higher. If that helps. Hopefully. That's like simplest terms of break structure versus liquidity sweep. It all comes down to just the displacement. But break of structure needs to be I always look for break of structure after some sort of liquidity sweep or after bouncing off of a bigger time frame PD array. Any questions? Oh yeah, so buys going in tomorrow. Looking at the 1 hour start here on NQ. We swept this internal low. I still want to see these relative equal lows become the draw. So I still want to see us go lower. But I would like to see us retrace the discount. So I think we have to the tick, actually. So we have reached back to discount. We're in this 1 hour fair value gap. I would like to see us go lower going into tomorrow. So depending on what action we see happen in the overnight session, we also want to pay attention as well, though we are forming SMT at these lows that we're starting to get bought back up. So if we continue through this high, then we maybe could see us come to this high here. So the biggest thing I'm going to be watching for is if this big fair value gap continues to be respected or not. Again, a lot of imbalances here. It's a large area. It's very hard to see, what point is going to be the biggest area that's going to be possibly rejected. But going into tomorrow, I am going to be a little bit more bearish. But I want to see the rejection back down. And again, we'll see what happens in the overnight session as well. Looking at the fib, it depends on what range this is, right? So like if I'm looking to see if we're in discount right now, I go from the recent high to whatever low that we put in, right? And then I can see, okay, that's the midway point of the range, which we've already hit, right here. All right, looking at ES. Again, same thing, coming back into this big 1 hour fair value gap. Gonna see if we continue to reject this or we continue to break through this. If we get through this, I would expect that draw to be that high. Once we take that high, I would look to maybe see it back down. But right now, I'd like to see us continue to reject and take out all of these lows right here that we have. As well as we have a lot of inefficiencies here, which bigger time frame fair value gap. Would like to see us continue back down. So I am bearish going into tomorrow. Do you guys want to do a little bit of a replay session? All right, let's do a little replay session. GBP USD. Let's clear the chart a little bit. Actually, I think we did this yesterday. Let's do Euro USD. Go to the daily. Scrunch this up. And then we'll go like here. All right. Looking at the daily. Let's check it. So again, looks like we're overall pretty bullish. So we're kind of starting to get bullish here. What would I look for? Biggest thing I would look here on the daily is just to see this daily fair value gap. This is what I would believe is the draw. So we just tapped into this. Again, retrace to now discount of this range. So this is when I zoom in. Go to a 4 hour first. We're starting to bounce. Again, this is where I would probably start leaning a little bit more bullish. Possibly could come down to here as well. So this is when I zoom in and look to see any sort of market structure shift to the upside, right? Again, let's start to just kind of watch, start to get some displacement here. Kind of a big move up. Again, did sweep this level. Looking at the 5-minute. We did come up, sweep these highs, starting to displace back lower. No really structure shift, though. Could honestly see that high be taken. And I want to see displacement now that we're in that daily fair value gap. End up coming up. Starting to come back and sweeping this high. Right? Not really a lot of displacement through this, so I still want to be careful. But again, daily fair value gap is still holding. 4-hour coming back into. Would want to see how this 4-hour fair value gap now holds. Ends up breaking through. Coming down, sweeping this low here now, right? What do I want to see now? Displacement back up. We'll see if we end up sweeping this or not. Still waiting. All right, there we go. Starting to move a little bit more to the upside now. Now, this would not be a bad long, possibly a little bit early. Again, notice we have just broken above that. Not a lot of displacement yet, but we did just pull back into this fair value gap. We have swept this low. I'd wait a little bit more. This is a little bit of an early entry to the long side. So this is where I'd probably take a better long. We have a nice, better fair value gap here. Again, still not a lot of displacement, but a lot better than before. End up getting bought back up. Again, I would probably look to scale around here. We have this 1-hour fair value gap. This is where I'd probably look to scale. But since we are in a daily fair value gap here, I would expect this to become buy side. So again, looking on a bigger time frame, we're in a daily fair value gap. I would expect the draw on a daily now to be that high. So I would expect to probably see that high being met. There you go. That high ends up getting taken. Then that's probably where I would, let it go. And then from there, see if there's anything else. Ends up selling back off. Did we take this low out here? We kind of forming equal lows here. We'll see if that ends up getting taken. There we go. Gets taken. Again, do we get displacement back up? Looking at the 5-minute, looks like we do. Pulling back to this 5-minute fair value gap. Looking at a 15-minute here. We just swept this level. Kind of displacing through this. Pulling back into that 15-minute fair value gap. Wouldn't be a bad long. Looks good. 1-hour time frame. Again, would want to see that become low resistance. Would probably scale along the way. Would want to see that low get swept here. So if this low gets swept, no fair value gap, maybe on a 5-minute. Not really, kind of. Again, all this would be, I would want to see that become low resistance. We didn't sweep that low, so I wouldn't really take on any ad here. We did just come back down, sweeping these lows here. If we get displaced back up, would expect to take another long. Still nothing. Still nothing. Looks like we're going back lower. Selling back off. Just took this low. Wait, let me zoom back out. Where are we? 15 minutes coming back down. We're back inside this here. Bigger time frame. Let's see if we have a 4-hour. Yep, 4-hour fair value gap here. Selling off, putting new lows. Looking at the daily. Again, breaking through this daily fair value gap, what do I expect the draw on liquidity to be? Probably this low, but we do have this order block here, so we'll see if that holds. But I would like to see this low get taken now. Ends up getting bought back up, holding the order block. 4-hour time frame starting to get displacement back to the upside. Again, would still probably be waiting to see that low get taken. Ends up taking that high. Again, would be waiting. Again, overall draw would want that. We end up coming down, sweeping all those lows. Wow, this is crazy. This low gets swept. Big move to the upside. High gets swept. Big move to the downside. Takes that low. Big move to the upside to take that. This is search and destroy. Big move back up. Again, Daily time frame still continuing to hold, actually. That order block breaks through. 4-hour time frame coming back. Daily, do we have any sort of fair value gap here? We do. So we do have this daily fair value gap. Want to see how the reaction here. Going down to the 1 hour. Starting to displace back lower a little bit. Maybe we do have... Okay, we do have this daily bullish fair value gap here. You know, would want to see more of the rejection here. Possibly see displacement back up. Starting to displace. I would probably expect just a straight run to that recent high, and then overall buy side on a bigger time frame. Looking at this is when I can zoom in. Look to maybe take an expansion. Pulling back into that 5-minute. This would be a very late long, but would expect to see that buy side get taken. Would zoom in to see. I would zoom in there to see the reaction. I'm actually, can I zoom in? No, I can't. Fuck. I think I just ruined this. Gotta go find where I was now. Oh, this was okay. Okay, so that long would have worked right there. I bet. All right, let's do one more. Let's pick a new. We'll do one more. I'll try not to take too long. I could do this literally all night, guys. Do you guys like us doing this? Keep going? Keep going or no? I asked about fib placement because on the 1 hour, the low of month June is close to discount or current phase, or is that overanalyzing? Probably, I wouldn't say overanalyze, but always keep in mind of it though. Gold, yeah, we could do gold. All right, let's stretch this out a little bit. Pop in the replay. We'll go here. My mama mad at me. I know I fucked up. Yeah, my God, mad at me. All right, let's go. Got buy side resting here, pulling back into that daily here. Would want to see if this holds. If that gets ran through, I'd probably expect to see lower. 1 hour fair value gap. Again, if this gets ran through, I'd probably expect to see higher. Still rejecting. Breaking through on that daily time frame. Would now want to look to see any place that we could go back to. 4 hour, just continue to sell off, coming back into this 4 hour fair value gap. Zoom back in here. No, I can't go on a 15 minute? What? No way. That is crazy. Is this where I am? Oh, this is where I was. Alright. 4 hour fair value gap. I can't go down to a fucking 15 minute. 1 hour. Look to sell. Once we get that sweep, would look to see this pull back to here. Again, 4 hour fair value gap still holding. Would want to see lower. Draw on liquidity should become that low. Would want to see this low here taken. There we go. Ends up getting taken. Watch to see the reaction. Trying to break back to the upside. We just ends up sweeping this 15-minute high here, or 1 hour high. See if that gets displacement back down or not. There we go. Starting to displace. Again, this is where I would want to zoom in. There we go. If we can come back up to here, this would be a possible short. There we go. This would be a possible short. not the highest quality short, but I would look to see first these equal lows get taken. Bullish fair value gap continues to hold. If we get displacement, I'd probably look to take this off. So a bigger time frame. I do want to look at the 4-hour here. Four hours not looking too bad. This would be a lower probability. Dude, I keep fucking hitting the 15-minute and I can't see it. God damn it. Did I already go past it? All right, run it. There we go. Low. So that low ends up getting taken. So now I would be pretty cautious taking any sort of short. Again, I wish I could zoom in here, but I can't. I would look to see displacement up. There we go. That would be a perfect long. Targeting this high. This is A plus probably. We'll see if that low holds or not. There we go. All right, there we go. Draw gets taken. Stop will be at the low. Now that that gets taken, I want to see displacement back down, coming down to sweep all this sell side. We do have that fair value gap. That ended, and that would be pretty late, but ooh, jump, gap up. Ends up coming down, sweeping this low here again. In bigger time frame though, we're still rejecting this big 4-hour fair value gap, right? So what would I probably expect here? Probably to see a little bit more of a sell-off. But I also want to be careful because we haven't. There we go. So now I'd be looking to see. We actually have a lot of imbalances right here. So could possibly expect us to see a bounce here after sweeping sell side. We'll see. Going back to a 1-hour. Big displacement back up. Four-hour. Would want to see us possibly come back to this fair value gap. There we go. Now notice we have these relative equal highs up here that I would want to see act as buy side. So this is when I would zoom in, look to see some sort of internal break here, targeting highs. So I want to see a bounce back up. There we go. That would be my long. A little bit early, but I would want to see that this 1-hour fair value gap hold. And I'd want to see this high. So this would now be the draw. This is actually a nice, yeah, this is a nice setup. We'll see. Again, stop would be at this low. So I would not want to see that low get taken. Low gets taken. Coming back down. Did that low get swept? Would want to see this low here get swept. All right, there we go. Low gets taken. Bigger time frame draw. Big displacement already to the upside. Not be a bad long here in this 1-hour. Again, bigger time frame. I would want to see a little bit more displacement. Again, at this point in time, you let that go. Wouldn't scale somewhere around here. Again, if that was that bigger, if we just swept that overall draw, then I would expect the draw to be a lot higher. Again, this would now become the draw here, as I'd want to see these equal highs get taken. Coming down, sweeping internal. Four-hour starting to consolidate a little bit. End up sweeping this high here, starting to displace down. Coming back up, starting to trend change here. Again, would look back at the daily now. Possibly actually probably would look out more. This is when I would look out and see if there's any sort of monthly or weekly sort of PD array that we're kind of in right here. There's not really a lot here to base anything off of as of more of, you know, retracement wise. Going back to the daily, I would look at possibly coming to see this daily fair value gap get met again. There we go. Ends up getting tapped. Okay, zoom back in, looking to see the bounce, possible displacement. Equal highs resting up here as buy side. We just ended up sweeping these lows here as well. Equal lows just got swept. I would want to see move to the upside here, displacement higher, and then look to take a fair value gap. Now, this would be, again, early. Again, if I could zoom in, I would hope there's a fair value gap there, but that displacement, I'd want to see it run up to take that high. There we go. High gets taken. Bigger time frame wise, I would want to see this become break of structure. So I wouldn't really look to take a short here if we get displacement lower, because I would probably expect us to see higher. Ends up coming up, sweeping that high one more time. Now, this actually would not be, it's a little bit more risky. Again, I would take it right. Now that that got swept, I wouldn't really hold that. Yep, again, bigger time frame. Draw on liquidity still higher. Notice that's why we don't get a sell-off, a big sell-off after we sweep that high. Again, zooming back out, what would I be looking to target? Still be looking to target these equal highs. Daily, I would want to see us come back up or come back to this daily fair value gap. Oh, I didn't. Let me see if there was a setup. Go to the 1 hour. Oh. See if we end up getting that setup. Comes back. All right, I zoom, look for market structure shift. We just ended up taking this low. Would want to see this become buy side now. Waiting for internal and displacement. There we go. I would say that would be a break of structure. Again, I can't zoom in, so right now I would just enter out break of structure. But I would expect, again, the draw to become that high. And then there you go. That high gets taken. Again, this when you can align all these time frames, right? We have a bigger time frame PD array, a daily. We have liquidity sweep, so we're bullish. We have the draw and liquidity on a bigger time frame as bullish. This is when you can get high quality setups, right? Those equal highs get taken, displacement back down. Again, this is where I'd want to zoom in. Can't really see much here. Would want to see that become low resistance, the downside. But I would want to see us come up and sweep those highs first. Would want to see this now sell side. Again, still moving up, no displacement. And look back at the daily at this time. Looks like we're coming back down. Oh, we ended up bouncing off this old daily fair value gap, but we never ended up sweeping that low. Ooh, that would have been. Let's see if that ends up coming back down, actually. Coming down, we sweep this low. Bigger time frame for value gap here as well. Draw should become that high. End up forming relative equal highs, so that's going to be a target for us in the future. There we go. Now we swept that daily level, so now I'd want to see displacement back up. Again, this would be an early buy because there's no market structure shift yet. Probably would expect to see new lows if that doesn't hold. Yeah. Continuing. Ooh, big sell-off. This is some wacky. We are chalping. All right, we just took this low. Again, this is where I'd want to zoom in, but I can't zoom in. But we do have this 1 hour. Again, we're still kind of holding that bearish. Again, early entry because I can't really see if we had to break a structure in a smaller time frame. Still holding. I'd want to see this continue to bounce up, and I'd want to see these highs be met. But again, I would scale somewhere around here. We'll see if those highs ended up getting taken. There we go. Again, all this becomes low resistance liquidity. So I'm aiming for whatever that high is.
All right. We'll end there. I'll keep going. So.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Peace out, guys.